Welcome back. You're here with Goldberg. Today I wanted to address this common saying you've probably heard from boomers, and it's like, if you just work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, it'll pay off. Now, I'm not going to suggest that working hard will prevent you from advancing. The United States is better than most countries in that regard. It's not really a question of earning money. It's how you keep it. Because whilst you can certainly generate a lot of income in the United States, we have tax laws and tax rates that are designed to prevent people from passing on wealth on an intergenerational basis. It's hard to keep the money you make, probably because we have this obsession with consumerism, which is a secondary issue. But this past year, I made enough money to be considered to be in the top 10% of the United States, which is less impressive than it sounds. But at any rate, I think I was working 70 to 75 hours a week when I include my business, my job, my investments, which I'm not complaining about. Actually, I was more relaxed and stress-free this year than previously when I was working less, but the type of job was just really obnoxious. And so I tabulated just from my job, I paid probably close to 35 or even maybe 40,000 worth of taxes that I actually paid in throughout the year. So here I'm sitting as I'm doing human resources and block, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm probably going to be getting money back, I suppose, right? Makes sense. You start putting it in, and it's looking bad, and it's in the parentheses, which is not a good thing. Well, I ended up having to pay over $1,000, which is, I thought, that's kind of weird. I paid all this money in. Well, it didn't stop there. So you proceed on a little bit, and they're like, oh, by the way, you might be assessed for an underpayment penalty. I'm thinking, how did that work? I mean, I've been paying in a lot of money. I'm not dodging taxes or anything like that. Well, you get even past that, and you get to where you are doing your IRA contributions. And for those of you who don't know, the Roth IRA is one of the best things you can use to save money in the United States because you've already paid taxes on the money that goes in. You can put like $6,000 a year, and the growth and the dividends are not taxed, and you can take it out when you're older. It's one of the best vehicles, period. Well, apparently if you make a certain amount of money, they start telling you you can't actually max that out. And so I got to the point where they said I had to withdraw money or I would be penalized. But the process of withdrawing the money, you have to be very careful or they'll penalize you anyway. So I'm thinking, why? I mean, I'm investing the money, I'm saving the money, I've already paid taxes on it. But no, we can't let you do that because I guess you've made too much. It wouldn't be fair. It would disrupt the system. So I'm sure some of you would go, well, why don't you just use a 401k? Point taken, okay. Now, I don't like 401ks for a couple of reasons. To begin with, the Roth 401k is superior, but of course it wouldn't have helped my situation because it doesn't affect taxes. You have to pay that. You can't take it off the top pre-tax. So that wouldn't have made a major difference in terms of me paying taxes. So it would have to be the traditional. The problem in my case, I mean, of course, my job, they weren't matching, so that wasn't a huge incentive, but you could still say as a tax shelter, it makes sense. The problem is that with 401ks, you can't invest in individual stocks, so you're not going to be able to get like a double or triple bagger typically, because you have to invest in the funds which they provide. And those funds, dollar cost average, you're going to have an average return. Now, over many years, you may get a larger return, but it's certainly not going to grow your wealth in leaps and bounds. You're not going to get Teslas in 401ks. Another thing you have to be careful, and I have just recently put out a blog post on this with expense ratios. You guys look at them and you say, oh, it's only like 0.35, doesn't look bad. You have to realize in most cases, if it's like double digits in terms of like a 0.35 or 0.57, that translates to $350 per $1,000 invested yearly, or $570, depending on what the figure is. And I put this into a calculator because I just wanted to ensure I knew what was going on. The difference between that and let's say one of those Vanguards that's 0.04, 0.08, in a matter of 10 years, it comes to like $7,000, $8,000 if you're not careful. And worst of all, the bond funds, which have lower returns, have the higher fees. So you just see how screwed up the entire system is and how you could be losing a lot of the money you're putting in and not even realize it. So going past all of that, because I'm sure the question is going to be, well, maybe this particular question people don't know about. You say, well, yeah, but at least you can save, and then if you pass on, you can give it to your kid. Something has changed. So under President Arangelo, I think it was last year, he signed the Secure Act, which did some good stuff. We're not all just going to be one-dimensional attacking Trump, but it changed the rules on IRA stretching. So what that means is previously, if you passed away and you gave your retirement account to a kid, they had throughout their entire lifetime to distribute it. But they now capped it at 10 years. So let's say that I'm 70 years old, my son's 40, and I'm making, splendiferous love to a traditional feminine YouTube woman. You can guess who that might be. And in the middle of it, I just keel over and I die of a broken heart, or maybe an exaggerated, excited heart. He's going to inherit it. The problem is that he has 10 years. Let's say it's $500,000 in there. He's got 10 years to take it out in which he's going to be taxed. So if he's 40 years old and he's hopefully making a decent income, he's going to have all that tossed on top of his income, which is going to screw him over royally with taxes, assuming they're not a lot lower than they are today. So, in other words, the system is set up to where they don't want you sheltering money. They want to be able to collect taxes. They want to prevent the middle class from storing up funds over time to where your children's children can be wealthier, as they say in the Holy Book. And it's truly unfortunate because people talk about millionaires and billionaires. The reality is that if you're poor, you can benefit from certain tax credits. If you're rich, you can take your money overseas. If you're middle class, you have very few tools available to conserve money and to pass it on safely to your children. So when they say work hard and it pays off, what they really mean is work hard and then pay off Uncle Sam.